Breaking news! The pressure is mounting behind the scenes in Miami, and I have some big news to share today. Mike McDaniel will need a deep, battle-ready roster if we are to make a run at the Super Bowl and make this dream a reality. Now, I have the inside scoop on some Dolphins players you may not be paying attention to, but maybe you should. Before I dive into all the names that could be breakout stars in 2025, please hit like only if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan. And if you've been a fan for 20 plus years, leave a comment saying, "Go Dolphins! I believe." Let's get straight to the point. We're diving into the Dolphins' recent draft classes, 2022, 2023, 2024, and even some of this year's rookies to spotlight the players flying under the radar. Think about this. Every year, there's someone who steps up and shocks the fan base. So who could that be in 2025? And who might flame out? Let's get into it. The 2022 draft class? An outright mess. Only 3 of the 4 picks are still on the team, and none were taken in the top 100. Channing Tindall, Eric Ezukanma, and Cameron Good are still here, but Skylar Thompson, once seen as a project QB, is already gone. Let's be real, if either Tindall or Ezukanma make the final 53-man roster this year, that would be a surprise. These were high-upside athletes, but both lacked the football IQ and processing skills to transition smoothly to the NFL. Tindall, in particular, was thrown into chaos, dealing with multiple defensive coordinators, never getting the consistent coaching needed to develop. That's a major failure in player development, one that rests squarely on the front office. Chris Grier gambled on traits, but didn't back them up with structure. Now, the teams had to patch that hole with guys like Tyrell Dodson, KJ Britt, and Willie Gay, who are all serviceable but weren't part of the long-term vision. That's the cost of mismanaging draft picks. Grier mortgaged the future to bring in veteran players, some of whom couldn't stay healthy or meet expectations, and now we're feeling that draft capital debt. But there was one bright spot in that dismal 2022 class. Kader Kohou. He wasn't even drafted, and yet he's the only player from that cycle who's played over 2,500 snaps in 3 seasons. Now, on a 1-year RFA tender, Kohou could solidify himself as a long-term starter. He's shown flashes, especially last season, once Fangio's zone-heavy system was replaced with a better scheme fit. If Kohou takes another step, it could be huge for Miami's secondary. Now, let's talk 2023. Cam Smith is the name everyone keeps circling. He was the Dolphins' top pick in that draft, taken 51st overall, and he's done almost nothing on defense so far, just 153 snaps in 2 years. That's not just underwhelming, it's alarming. But 2025 could be his last shot. The opportunity is there. With spots open in the secondary, it's time for Cam to either step up or step out. Even Chris Grier has acknowledged that, publicly and directly to Smith. If it doesn't happen this year, it's probably never going to. Devin Achane, on the other hand, is the obvious star from the 2023 class. Nearly 1,300 total yards and 12 touchdowns per season so far? That's elite, but he's halfway through his rookie deal already, and the big question looms, will the Dolphins pay him long-term? His efficiency dipped late last season, and he's not built to be a 20-carry bell cow. That's something Miami has to figure out if they want to preserve his explosiveness. Now onto the 2024 class. Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul are the headline names, taken in the first and second rounds, but let's focus on the sleepers. Malik Washington stood out last year with 26 catches and nearly 250 yards, plus solid special teams work. He's undersized, but a great route runner. The problem? He's buried behind Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and now Nick Whip Wozniak. Can he carve out a role despite the crowd? If he does, he'll be a major steal. And what about Patrick McMorris, a 6th-round safety who flashed in preseason and brings high football IQ, toughness, and tackling skills? He might not be a deep coverage threat, but he could be a perfect fit in Miami's hybrid safety schemes. With uncertainty behind Jevon Holland, McMorris has a real shot to earn meaningful snaps. Then there's the 2025 class. Dante Trader, a physical safety from Maryland, could be a day 3 steal. The safety room is crowded. He'll be battling Elijah Campbell, Ashton Davis, and McMorris, but his skill set aligns well with what the Dolphins seem to want. He might be one injury away from a significant role. And don't sleep on the running backs. Jalen Wright had some juice last year, and now there's Oklahoma State's Ollie Gordon in the mix. If either beats out Alexander Madison, they could help lighten the load on Achane and finally solve Miami's short yardage issues. Imagine a rotation with Achane motioning out to the slot, Gordon pounding between the tackles, and Waddle and Hill stretching the field. That's dangerous. The big unknown? Julian Hill. Yeah, people roll their eyes when his name comes up, but this UDFA tight end has quietly played over 850 snaps in 2 seasons. He does the dirty work, blocking, special teams, unglamorous routes, and that role matters. Can he fend off Pharaoh Brown and take a leap? If so, he'll be a key cog in the offense. The Dolphins also brought in a wave of intriguing UDFAs this year, like Andrew Armstrong, B.J. Adams, and John Saunders. The amount of guaranteed money they gave to some of these guys might hint at who they're serious about developing. That's a deep dive for another day. So here's the question for you all. Of the names I've mentioned, who do you think will be the breakout star in 2025? Will it finally be Cam Smith's year? Can Malik Washington force his way into a stacked receiver group? Is Patrick McMorris quietly the next big find in the secondary? Let me know in the comments, and if you're ready, I'll drop the continuation with even deeper analysis and what it means for the Dolphins' playoff hopes. Should I continue? Let's pick up right where we left off, because the plot thickens when we dig even deeper into the Dolphins' young core and what's at stake heading into the 2025 season. We've already talked about Cam Smith, Kader Kohou, Malik Washington, Patrick McMorris, and the crowded backfield. But if we're being real, this team is going to live or die by the development or failure of these mid and late round picks. That's the cost of blowing premium draft capital on short-term veteran rentals. And it's why Chris Greer still being in charge is such a massive liability. He's the one who created this imbalance. And unless these younger, cheaper players hit, it's going to catch up with Miami fast. Let's go back to that safety room one more time, because the competition is about to explode. You've got McMorris trying to carve out a niche. You've got Dante Trader coming in with a similar profile. Both are physical, downhill players, better in run support than in deep coverage. Both bring that enforcer style. But here's the twist. The coaching staff clearly sees value in that prototype. They've gone after it 2 years in a row. That means someone's going to get that role, and Trader and McMorris might be battling for a single job. The one who wins could be looking at 400 to 500 snaps this season, especially if injuries hit. And while we're on the topic of snap counts, remember this, Malik Washington played more than 500 snaps last year when you count offense and special teams. That's not nothing. So when we talk about Ollie Gordon, Jalen Wright, or even Dante Trader getting similar volume, it's not just wishful thinking. It's possible, especially because Mike McDaniel is desperate to fix the third down and short yardage inefficiency that killed drives last season. Adding Gordon, a powerful interior runner, is a direct response to that. He may not have been projected to fall to day 3, but he did, and now the Dolphins may have found a workhorse to complement a chain's speed. If Gordon beats out Madison and stays healthy, don't be surprised if he logs 400-plus offensive snaps as a rookie. Another guy who deserves more attention, Mohamed Kamara. He barely played last year, dressing for just 5 games, but the traits are there. He doesn't have ideal length, which might cap his ceiling as a pass rusher, but his motor, strength, and effort stand out. He's going to have to flash early in camp to avoid getting lost in the numbers game. Still, if injuries hit the edge group, or if someone like Bradley Chubb doesn't return to full form, Kamara could see situational snaps that matter. Let's not forget about Jordan Phillips either, not the veteran defensive tackle, but the rookie interior lineman out of Kansas. Some in the scouting community had a top 100 grade on him, yet he slid. Why? Concerns about pass rush upside. But what he can do is anchor the middle and eat double teams. That alone might earn him 300 to 400 snaps this year. He's not flashy, but if you want a guy who can stabilize the run defense from day one, he's that guy. And in a conference loaded with elite running backs and mobile quarterbacks,